Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. The past couple of weeks have been absolutely crazy for me. I just recently graduated from college and have been getting used to living that life. So my apologies for taking so long to upload a new video. But today's video is a little bit different. So instead of just filming a workout and posting it on here for you guys, I actually wanted to give you the information about how I make and structure my at-home workouts. I wanted to do this for those of you that like to exercise at your house instead of a gym. I wanted to show you how I structure it, what components you should have. That way, if you decide to work out at your house, you have all the tools you need to make a really good and efficient workout that you can do at your home. Alright, so I'm just going to jump right in and get started. So on my phone, I kind of tried to write down all the components that you should have. So what I do for my workouts, I typically do full body. If I'm going to work out at home, I feel like it's the most effective way to get a workout in, especially if you don't have any equipment. If you do full body, you can usually burn more calories and get a more well-rounded workout that way. So I came up with 4 components that you should include in your at-home workouts. The first one is the cardio component, then you have your upper body component, your lower body component, and then your core component, if you want to call it that. I'm going to go through each of these components and just give you some examples. So the first component is the cardio component. Now, if you're going to work out at home and you don't have any equipment, you can still do a ton of things for cardio. You can do jumping jacks, you can jog in place, you can jump rope, you can imaginary jump rope, you can do jumping squats, you can do mountain climbers, you can do plank jacks. You can do all sorts of things without any equipment at all, just something that's going to get your heart rate up to give you that benefit of doing the cardio exercise. I usually like to pick a cardio component. Say that day I'm going to do plank jacks, and I like to stick it in between each of my strength components. So say I do an upper body component first, then I do cardio, then I do the lower body, then I do another cardio, and then I do the core. So I kind of like to stagger it throughout. That way I don't feel like I'm doing a lot of cardio at once, but I'm also getting more than one little piece of cardio in my workout. So that's usually how I like to do it, but feel free to play with it and do what works for you. All right, the second component is the upper body component. I consider upper body anything from the hips and above. So that could be back, it could be chest, biceps, triceps, anything of that nature, really. So you do not need equipment to do upper body. Upper body, you're a little bit more limited, I'll say, with what you can do if you don't have equipment, but you can still do plenty of things with just your body weight. Some of the things I like to do are push-ups. You can do regular or modified push-ups. You can use a chair and do tricep dips. That's a really, really effective one as long as you do it correctly. You can get in a plank position and do shoulder taps. That's really going to hit your shoulders. And then even a plank, I know plank is a core exercise, but it does also work your upper body really, really effectively as well. If you have dumbbells or resistance bands, you are in a little bit of a better position. I know that if you want to invest in them, Amazon is a really great resource for that. Also, places like Marshall's or TJ Maxx will have things there. They're kind of hit or miss, but they are at a really good price. I know they have kettlebells and dumbbells and things like that, so always check those places as well if you want some inexpensive like little dumbbells or resistance bands or something like that. But if you have dumbbells or resistance bands for upper body, I would highly recommend using that. You could do things like bicep curls, tricep extension, a dumbbell row. You could do chest press on your back. You could do a lot of things with just a pair of dumbbells or even just a long resistance band. You would be surprised how many things you could do for upper body. So the third component that I have listed here is your lower body component. Just as I said the upper body, I would consider anything you know, from the hips up, upper body. I would consider anything below the hips, lower body, obviously. So with lower body, those muscles are a lot bigger, they're a lot stronger typically than the upper body muscles in most people. So for that, I do like to do a lot of compound movements or movements that are more difficult for me because I feel like I get a better workout that way. So I try to incorporate things like squat or lunges of some type or something that's gonna really tire out my muscles, because I feel like that is the most effective way to do lower body because those muscles are so big and so strong. But you can do things, same thing with body weight, or you can add weight. So if you're going to do squats, if you don't have any equipment, you can just use your body weight and that's totally fine. Or you can use things like a jug of milk, or like, you know, I think I have a cat, so like holding a thing of cat litter or anything like that to add weight. You don't necessarily need dumbbells, but you can also add dumbbells or weights to any of the like exercises that you do. So if you're going to do squats or hip raises or lunges or jumping squats or anything like that, you can do it totally body weight, or you can add dumbbells or resistance bands as well. That's totally fine, whichever one works for you. And then the fourth and last component that I have is the core component. I think core is really underrated. Core is not just your abs, so it is the entire trunk area. So definitely do your research if you're unfamiliar with what core is, but that is things strengthening the erector spinae, the muscles that go down your spine that help you lift heavy things. And then it's also not just your six-pack abs, but your obliques and your transverse abdominis that is way deep down in there. And your pelvic floor, which is all of the muscles that support your organs, like your bladder and things like that. So core includes a lot of things. One thing you can do to help your core through any workout is diaphragmatic breathing. So just breathing in a really proper and efficient way. I can leave some resources below on that. I'm not even going to try to explain it. It's hard to explain. So I'll leave some resources linked down below if you want to try out diaphragmatic breathing. Something else for core is just a good ab exercise, making sure that you're using proper technique. Hannah Bauer is an amazing resource. She is certified in like core stuff. I don't really know the proper name for that, but follow her on Instagram. She has really great resources on learning when you're properly engaging your core and when you're not. So doing an ab exercise, making sure you're properly engaging your core. Things like a plank are really good for full body, but also for core. Different crunch variations like reverse crunches or crunches with weights above your head or crunches with your legs straight up in the air, oblique crunches, anything like that is really good. And then also, I really like to do Supermans for my back. I will leave a link down below that'll show you some photos of that, but you're basically laying on your stomach with your arms and legs spread out, and then you're lifting your chest up off the floor, and you could do it with your legs up off the floor, and you're kind of contracting those back muscles that go down your spine, and that's a really good way to work those muscles down your spine and make sure that you're engaging them as well, because they're really important for doing any type of compound movement. Having really good core engagement and core strength is something that's extremely important, and I think it's really underrated, and I think a lot of people are really misinformed in just how important that core exercises can be. So I'll leave you some resources. Definitely follow Hannah Bauer on Instagram. I'm not sure if she has a Facebook page or not, but if she does, I'll link it down below. She's amazing. She has a core guide. I thought about coming out with one, but it would not be nearly as good as hers, so I don't know if I'm going to do it. But she does have a core guide that you can look at too, to learn about all the different muscles in your core and things like that. Alright, now I will give you an example of how I typically structure an at-home workout, just so you can kind of see and follow my example if you decide that you want to make your own at-home workout. So for my at-home workouts, I typically pick 4 or 5 exercises and I complete them in a circuit style. Circuit style being I do all 5 exercises back to back without taking a rest, and then at the end of all 5 of my exercises is when I would take my really nice like 1 to 2 minute rest, and then I just repeat that circuit again. I typically repeat a circuit 3 or 4 times It gets me sweaty, it gets my heart rate up, and it makes sure that I work my muscles, especially if I'm not using any weights. I typically need to do the circuit a couple more times than if I were to be using weights. Okay, so an example of a workout that I would do at home with no equipment. For a cardio component, I really like plank jacks. I think they're so effective. You get in a plank position on your hands, so not like with your elbows bent, but on your hands, and you jump your feet in and out like you would in a jumping jack, so just jumping in and out. So it's a plank jack. And for cardio intervals, I usually do them anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. So I don't do an assigned number of repetitions per se, but I would just put on a timer for 30 seconds or 35 seconds or, you know, however long you'd want to go, and then just do as many reps as you can in that amount of time. Another one I like are jumping jacks. Those are really underrated. After like 30 seconds, they get really difficult. So jumping jacks are a really good way to get your heart rate up. So yeah, I would typically maybe start with a cardio component, maybe to start off my workout and get that out of the way, or pop it in like in between my other strength components. So let's say I'd maybe start with a cardio component for this one, and then I typically go into lower body. I like to do that one early in the workout and get it out of the way. It's typically more difficult for me. So I would pick maybe curtsy lunges to hit the quads and the glutes a little bit as well. So I do curtsy lunges anywhere from 10 to 12 on each side, just making sure you have really, really good form and you're taking it nice and slow for each repetition. Then let's say I go ahead and do my upper body exercise. I would pick usually something compound to try to get as many muscle groups as I could in. So I would typically maybe pick something like push-ups, or maybe something like a tricep dip that doesn't engage as many muscles as a push-up, but it is a good body weight exercise that is a lot harder than it looks. So tricep dips is maybe another good one. Or if I had dumbbells, I would do a chest press or maybe a dumbbell row for my back, something like that. Anywhere from 8 to 15 reps for that is typically where I'm at. Push-ups, I'm kind of right in the middle at that 10 range, because going for 4 rounds would be like 40 push-ups, so that I can't go much further than that. But yeah, for upper body, it really just depends on what I'm feeling that day. Depends on what workouts I've done already throughout the week, but a nice upper body exercise that will be challenging for you, but something that you can still do. Pick whatever you want. So at this point we have cardio, lower body, and then upper body. So now I would throw in another cardio exercise. You can either do the same exercise that you did the first time. So say I picked plank jacks, I could do plank jacks again, or I could switch it out and do something different just to change it up. So say I wanted to do jumping squats, I don't know. Or if I have stairs in my house, do stair runs for 30 seconds, whatever. Pick something else that's gonna get your heart rate up, do that for 30 seconds to a minute. So our last thing would be our core component. I like ending an exercise or a circuit with core just because it's a nice way to finish it off. It allows you to kind of slow down, really focus on your form. I feel like when stuff is in the middle, it kind of gets glossed over sometimes in terms of form. So I really like doing core at the end because I can slow down, take my time, and focus on my form. For core, I really like doing plank, just the good old-fashioned plank. It's so underrated. It's so good. As long as you don't let your hips sag and you have proper core engagement, it's a really good, actually, full body exercise that is great to finish off your workout. If I didn't do a plank, I would maybe do some oblique crunches or reverse crunches for the lower abdominal area or something like that. And I would do anywhere from like 15 to 20 repetitions to really engage my core and get it fired up. So after your 5 exercises, take a good 1 to 2 minute break, catch your breath, drink a lot of water, but don't sit down. So you don't want your blood to start pooling. You don't want your heart rate to drop too fast. So make sure you're still walking around, getting some water, catching your breath, stuff like that. And then after 1 to 2 minutes, just start from the top and repeat that 2 or 3 more times, depending on how you're feeling. And then you have a really good 15 to 20 minute workout that you can do right in your house. Alright guys, that is going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And then if you haven't already, stick around by subscribing. You can hit the subscribe button below, and that way you can keep up with every video that I upload. I will also leave my website and social media information in the description box below if you decide to follow me. I would really appreciate that. If you follow me, you can get videos every week, fun little quotes and motivation to get you through your workouts, and you will also be able to have the scoop on when my home guide is releasing. I am working on that now, and it should hopefully be on my website in the next month or so. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.